Hi, welcome to The Center. I'm your host, Veronique George, and this show is centered around women and girls and helping them achieve and become their highest potential. We are joined on the show today by Jodie Brim. We're so excited to have her on the show. Jodie, how are you doing today?
I am fabulous today. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to chat.
Absolutely, so am I. Everyone, Jodie Brim is a visionary operating a branding agency and leading a team of creatives that focus on photography and videography for entrepreneurs. She channels her efforts into working behind the scenes to nurture the growth of women-led brands from the ground up, which is key to her brand membership, while her team takes the lead in executing brand photo shoots and video shoots. Jodie, I'm curious to find out what inspired you to create Jodie Brim Creative.
Well, I guess I should kind of start. This is year 11 in business. So Jodie Brim Creative has definitely evolved. It started as Jodie Brim Photography, solopreneur. I first started my business photographing weddings and everything under the sun. And now, since 2017, I have been serving business owners. And now it's just evolved. And that's where my primary focus is. I just saw a better way to help business owners market their products and services. So I decided to take that leap and just niche down and create an experience essentially for them to get better results with getting more customers. So I love what I do.
Awesome. And Jodie Brim is phenomenal. You guys, I've worked with her before, and she is absolutely amazing. Jodie, I'm curious to find out, how did you make that transition from wedding photographies and, like you said, everything under the sun to now personal branding? And what exactly is personal branding for those who might not know?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. So making the transition, really it was a need because, and due to my boredom. So I'll tell you about the two, how I married the two. So I was photographing so many business owners and doing just headshots. And number one, I got bored doing that. It was a ton of headshots, and they serve their purpose. Headshots are great for, your business cards, your profile photos, but it's limited, it doesn't really tell a story. And that's where the creative that I am at heart wants to help you elevate. I'm always looking, just even personally, of ways to just better myself, so that's where I kind of had the light bulb go off, and I could tap into my creativity and how to better tell the story of a brand. So that's when I just kind of transitioned and created like my own little lane of visual storytelling, and everything that I saw a business owner, after working with hundreds of brands, the needs that I saw that each of them needed, but just how to do that so it's unique to each brand. And that's where the fun comes in. So that's why I feel like I still love what I do to this day, because it doesn't get boring and every brand is different. So, and what was your other question? I'm sorry.
Personal branding. Can you let our audience know what exactly is personal branding?
Personal branding, there's a lot of different, definitions that you probably will hear. It's become quite a buzzword now, like it's more searched on Google, even because when I first started with personal branding, there was not a category. There was no name for it. I didn't even know that's what I was doing at the time. But essentially, personal branding is creating your own narrative and sharing your story. And what do you want people to know you for? What do you want to become known for? And there's a lot of different facets. I don't know if you want me to jump into that, because that's my jam. But personal brand essentially is your reputation. Is what mark do you want to make on the world? What impact do you want to have? So, and that's what I help people to build and just keep building.
I love that, Jodie. That's perfect. Here at the Center, we are all about women making an impact and reaching their highest potential. So I'm curious to find out, why is it important for women to also have a plan and a strategy for their personal brands? Why is this so important for people to take action on and to make sure that they own their narrative and how they represent themselves?
Okay. Anyone that wants to make a difference should utilize and leverage a personal brand. And I feel like we all have purpose. We are put on this planet for a reason. So when you have a clear plan with personal branding, this is where you are going to be able to amplify your voice. And this is where you'll be able to stand out from the crowd, differentiate yourself. You don't even have to be a business owner to have a personal brand. This is, if you're if you're in a corporate, community, or if it's like if you are an entrepreneur, having a personal brand is so powerful. I gotta take my steps because there's so many steps to it, but it's simple. It's not as hard or as scary and daunting as people might think it is, because it is coming from behind the scenes and into the limelight. It is, because you're trying to make an impact. So you do have to use your voice, but the key is being authentic. And that's where you truly shine and where it doesn't feel scary, because you are free to be yourself. And that's where you really see the impact that you're having, because all of us have different gifts. All of us have different talents, strengths, and it's how you use those and channel that power is where the power of a personal brand comes into play. So when I talk about personal branding, I'm not talking about creating a catchy logo, because I remember back in the day when I first started each iteration of my business, I got a different logo. I had like a million logos, y'all. And it's not about the logo. It is not about the logo. It's not about a perfectly curated Instagram feed. Okay. It's not about that. Personal branding is about sharing your story, sharing your thoughts, sharing your opinions. It's being authentic. That's the key word. I know you hear that a lot, but it's true. This is how you do it. And being intentional of the reputation that you want to build, a reputation that you could be proud of. And what do you want to be known for? That's the key elements really of personal branding.
So perfect. I love that, Jodie. Thank you so much for that response. And speaking of that, what are the 5 tips that you would like our audience to consider when creating their own personal brand?
Okay, let me try to simplify this, because there's a lot of things you can do. And this is where the creativity comes into play, because again, each person is unique. But if I have to break it down, just where to start is, again, asking that number one question: what do you want to be known for? Because this is where we're going to build our reputation. But what is important to you? What are your core values? What are you passionate about? If you know me, I'm passionate about building community. I'm passionate about bringing women together and elevating each other and empowering each other. That's what I want to be known for, because that's what's important to me. So I'm leveraging a personal brand to build that up. So how can you use your strengths to create an impact? It needs to be purposeful. This is not where you might see people on Instagram, and this is a pet peeve of mine, where you see people that want to be envied. This is not that. This is not where your ego takes the front row. Okay. So this is where you are using your strengths, the strengths that God gave you, and creating a lasting impact on others. That's what you need to ask yourself first. And then the way I break it down when I'm working with business owners who are trying to elevate their online presence, essentially, it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable. It's allowing yourself to showcase the story behind the brand, because I always say people are nosy before they give you your dollars. They want to know a little bit about you and see if they can connect with you. But there are 4 key things that I teach. And that is, like, I'm not going to go into so much depth. I know we have limited time, but really it's define, identify, build, amplify. This is what I call my brand accelerator. This is how you accelerate the growth or accelerate your online presence. Define is when you're defining your mission, your values, what's important to you. You're showcasing your personality, because nobody can be you. Identify is when you are you have a target audience. Who needs your help? The things that you have, again, the strengths that you have, who can you help with that? What message do you want to put in the world? That's purposeful and positive and uplifting, right? And then there's build. This is where the fun part comes in. And I have to pause, because it's so important to make sure you do the foundation first. What's important, the mission, defining what your brand is going to be, what you're going to be known for with your personal branding, and then identifying who needs it before you get to this stage, because everything you do here is going to help to have the decisions. It's going to be easy to make decisions when you get to the build phase. But that's where you're building your personal brand. That's when you are elevating your digital footprint. That's your digital footprint website. It can be, even if you don't have a business, again, personal branding is not just for business owners. I want to make sure that people know that. I've had people that I've worked with that are executives that have come to me to build their personal brand because they've seen the impact that they can have and the perks that comes with having your personal brand. If you're trying to get hired by another company, they already know that you bring value to their company, but it's making sure that your personal brand aligns with the company. So there's that too, you gotta think about, right? Okay, and so we were at build. So build is building your personal brand. That can be, you can leverage social media marketing. You could leverage, I've leveraged articles. I've written articles for magazines for free. So I can get my digital footprint. When people Google me, my name can pop up and read an article, and they find me that way, So there's so many ways. Thought leadership is a big one that I teach with content strategy. So thinking about build, that is your digital footprint. That can be through content marketing, thought leadership, social media marketing. It could be having a website and just showing what's important to you and how you can help whoever you're trying to help. And then the last one is amplify. That's where the collaborations come into play. That's where I'm here with you. I'm doing this interview with you today. And how? Because now you know what's important to me and you have a topic that can help your audience. But essentially that's helping to amplify my voice. So it all ties in, it all comes back together. And essentially it's just telling your story and telling what's important to you and not afraid to be vulnerable. That's where the true connection comes in with people.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. A lot of good nuggets in there. I also want people to take away that everybody can make an impact and everybody has something to offer. And Jodie, you articulated that so well. Thank you very, very much for answering that question. Very good. Next question. As we look to the new year, can you believe we're almost in the new year? How can our audience take how they show up to the next level?
Well, hopefully if they're already showing up, because there's some that, need a little bit of push, but if they are already out there showing up, there's different ways to do that. You could be showing up and it's not online, then I would say try showing up online too. If you're heavy in the community, we need that, but it'll be awesome to even leverage the online platforms as well. So I would just say, keep it simple. Take the time to actually set clear intentions for the year ahead. Asking yourself, what do you want to achieve? What is your goal? If you are not, again, this can be for anybody, any industry. What do you want to achieve? Asking yourself what impact you want to have in the next year. Visualize. I do a lot of visualizing. I do a lot of journaling. I write out my intentions. I write them out. I've been journaling for years, so it's kind of that's my therapy. But I would encourage people to visualize their goals and write them down. It's amazing. I was just talking to a friend the other day, and we wrote letters to ourselves, envisioning ourselves a year from. Actually, now it's this year. We did it last year for this year, and it's crazy all the things that have happened in her life. We were talking about it the other day. And there's something about writing it down and having an actual plan to turn those dreams into your reality. And it can happen, but start by writing it down and setting those clear goals. That's where I would start. Just keep it simple and telling stories. If you're not, if you're like, what do I say? Just tell how you got started with whatever you're trying to put out into the world. So if it's just practicing recording yourself, and you don't even have to put it out there, just start recording yourself on your phone and just talk about something that is a passion of yours. You have an opinion about some topic. The storytelling is where you hook people, because it's different when you're just talking at people, but when you actually tell a story, girl, when I was back in the day and I did XYZ, this is what happened. People start to lean in, even when it's virtual. I know I do that when I'm looking at someone online and they got me in a good story, because I have a hard time focusing on some stuff. But if you tell me a story, I'm listening to that story because I want to know what happens in the end. That's how you kind of start. Tell some stories.
Jodie, that was perfect. Thank you so much for sharing these great nuggets with our audience that I know is going to benefit all of us. And lastly, if there is something that you would want our audience to take away from this conversation, what would it be?
To be yourself, to be yourself when you are stepping into the limelight, if you have not. And the limelight, it sounds scary, but it's really just using your authentic voice. Own your story, because your story has power. Your story will help, even if it's just one person, it's a ripple effect. That person's gonna tell us. I have seen it happen too many times, and I've helped so many business owners tell the stories of the resilience, of just the hardships, and just where they are now, and just how there is, rainbow at the end. What is it? Rainbow at the end of the tunnel? Is that the saying? Or, whatever that saying is. I can't even think of it right now. But just telling them that you have the power to shape your story. Don't let someone else shape it. You have the power to shape your story. And that's where your personal brand comes into play. That's where the magic happens. And that's what connects you to the world and making your impact on the world. So just embrace it. And if it's something you've never done before, I want you to embrace it, because it's truly just using your voice. It sounds like it's so simple, and it is. It really is. Some people complicate it, but it doesn't have to be. And just let it shine. Just let your voice shine, and where it needs to land, it will land. Where it needs to hit the hearts of the people that need it, it'll happen. So just be you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jodie. This conversation has been so powerful, and I thank you for your time and your energy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.